What was intended to be a simple Sunday dinner out took an unexpected turn. Jackie had an early morning flight and would miss my 33rd birthday on Wednesday. She had arranged for a babysitter, a local teenager named Sarah, and chosen a quaint little bistro near the college campus for my celebration. We had just received our after-dinner drinks when a small group of women entered the bistro following a man. He wore a black leather Ascot ivy driving cap and had a scruffy salt and pepper ponytail and matching beard that reached his mid-back. He carried a box of books under his left arm. One of the women gave us a slight half-wave. "Who's that?" I asked. "Amanda. She was one of my bridesmaids. I wonder why she's here. I can't believe you don't remember her." "Sweetheart, my eyes are only on you," I replied with a smile toward Jackie. "What a liar." "I'm going to find out what's going on," Jackie declared. I stayed seated, sipping my drink while Jackie mingled. After about 10 minutes, I moved toward where they had gathered, but Jackie didn't notice me. The sign-up sheet identified the man as Pierre Lacroix, a romance novelist and one of Jackie's favorites. She had signed up through an email fan newsletter, unlike me. I also noticed she was using a different email address, which was new to me and seemed odd. Pierre was clearly charming, referring to the women as dainty flowers or beautiful petals, which made me cringe. Jackie was called my gray-eyed butterfly, and I could hardly contain my eye roll. Uninterested and mindful of our babysitting duties, I quietly approached Jackie. Gently tugging her forearm, I said, "It's time to go. We promised Sarah we'd be back by 8. "You go ahead. I'm enjoying myself," she responded. "We came as a couple and will leave as a couple," I insisted. With a dismissive backhand gesture, as if brushing off a servant, she replied, "Just leave. I'll take a ride-share home. I'm a self-sufficient grown woman, you know. Give Sarah a $10 tip." This was going to cause trouble. As I made my way to the exit, I saw the group imitating Jackie's dismissive gesture and laughing. Jackie was reveling in the attention. If Jackie is so self-sufficient, then I can handle taking care of the kids for a week. We had promised them a trip to Orlando, and it was time to make that dream come true. Once my anger subsided, I pulled over to the roadside and booked 3 reservations in Orlando. The kids and I were set for a vacation. I called Sarah in advance, asking her to have the children pack their rolling suitcases with enough clothing for a week. After that, I stopped at an ATM and withdrew my daily limit. After confirming that Sarah had safely returned home just a few doors down the street, I loaded the suitcases into our SUV. With both kids securely fastened, I did one last walkthrough of the house. On the main floor, there are 3 exits. Upstairs, there's a deck attached to our master bedroom. With all 3 door latches secured, I turned off all the lights and navigated through the darkness into our master bedroom. I locked the patio door behind me. While maneuvering down the support beam, I accidentally broke the lattice that held up the clematis vines. Apart from forcing a window or door, there was no other way into the house. I doubt Jackie could have figured that out, but I might be mistaken. The children were crowding me, trying to understand where we were headed and why their mother wasn't with us. Using the excuse of airport security, I took away the kids' smartwatches. Once we reached the boarding area, I disabled the GPS functions on both my device and the kids' gadgets, then immediately turned them off. We arrived around midnight, but it wasn't until 2 a.m. that we were finally settled into our suite. Both children were still full of energy, but some hot chocolate quickly had them drifting off to sleep. On Monday, we engaged in some solo amusement activities in Kissimmee. By the time we returned to our suite, the kids were completely exhausted. They were out like lights by 7. That's when I finally managed to turn on my cell phone. Jackie's first voicemail came in at 11:48 p.m. on Sunday night. That book signing must have drawn quite a crowd. "Riley, open the damn door. I know you're in there." The tone of the subsequent messages grew increasingly hostile. The voicemail at 12:38 p.m. even made me laugh. "Mr. Parsons, this is Officer Riggins. Your wife has been causing a disturbance outside your home. Please come to the door and speak with me. Alternatively, you can return my call at this number. I wasn't deleting anything, just in case I needed to reach out to the good officer later. At 2:02 a.m., I received another message. You jerk. The police just told me to find another place to stay tonight. I need my laptop and presentation material. Open the fucking door now, or I swear I'll take you for everything in a divorce. Wow, if she doesn't calm down, she might have a stroke. For someone so independent, she's really losing it. I still had at least a dozen calls to go through, along with countless text messages. That's when my phone started buzzing again. It was Jackie. My first thought was that it was too soon, but I should probably inform her that the kids are safe. This added another message to my list. The more I pondered her messages, the more I realized I didn't really know this woman. Divorce? Just like that? I contacted the credit card companies to report our joint cards as missing. The resort's business center had an ATM, so I sneaked out for a few minutes to withdraw the maximum amount of cash allowed daily. Jackie's parents had left a polite message, so I texted them to let them know that the kids and I were on vacation and enjoying ourselves without Jackie. When I finally listened to Jackie's messages from Monday, her harsh tone conveyed that her work trip had been a complete failure and that it was all my fault. She brought up divorce once again. It upset me, but I was exhausted, so it didn't keep me awake at night. On Tuesday, we purchased 3-day passes to Disney World. I didn't think much about Jackie. Then, on Thursday morning, my ATM card stopped working. Things were getting interesting. However, with my work AEX card and several days' worth of cash withdrawals, my children and I had enough funds to return home. By Sunday night, we were ready to leave. My eldest child said something that shocked me. This was really fun, Dad, especially without Mom. I don't think she likes us anymore. All I could think in that moment was, she must be under a lot of pressure at work, son. When we arrived on Monday afternoon, the house was empty. I'm not sure how it happened, but the front door latch was undone. Jackie managed to get inside. Upon closer inspection, I noticed the back door latch was missing. The kids were tired, so I sent them to take a nap while I unloaded the SUV. During that time, a florist delivery truck stopped in front of our house. A young woman handed me a vase, mumbling something about having a nice day. Even though the card was addressed to Jackie, I decided to open it. Forgot to thank you for telling me about Pierre's book signing. It's a shame it ended at 9. I was really enjoying it. We should have lunch or dinner sometime. Amanda. It took me a few minutes to process this. Jackie hadn't called until almost midnight. A short while later, I realized that Jackie was planning to meet Pierre, which explained our visit to that bistro. This made my next decision straightforward. As soon as Jackie came home, I was planning to leave for another 2 weeks, leaving her to take care of the kids. Since I work from home, I've been their primary caregiver, and Jackie would find it difficult to manage alone. I packed the SUV with my valuables, clothes, and work-related items. I also gathered all of Jackie's romance novels to search for clues later. When I logged into my bank's website, I found our checking and savings accounts were locked, but the money was still there. I noticed our brokerage accounts were accessible, so I changed the passwords immediately. As Hurricane Jackie approached, I quickly hugged and kissed the kids, telling them I was going on a 2-week business trip. "Mommy! Mommy!" Jackie's angry glare interrupted me. I smiled, which only made her more furious. "I'd love to stay, but I have a 2-week business trip. The kids are yours. Bye, guys." I rushed out the door. "Come back here." "You can't do that. I have my own business trip on Wednesday." I didn't catch all of Jackie's outburst, but it was something about me going back inside. After parking the SUV at the airport, I took the shuttle bus back into town. I spent my days handling work responsibilities and delving into our state's divorce laws. At best, I could anticipate having the children every other weekend and alternating major holidays, rotating Christmas one year and Thanksgiving the next. The term maintenance doesn't quite fit, It likely worked against me since I earned a higher income. Child support was calculated using a formula, which helps explain why some believed it was more cost-effective to keep her. Communication through calls and texts essentially came to a halt. It seems Jackie has settled on a particular strategy. With enough digging, you can uncover all kinds of information. I discovered that Jackie had indeed filed for divorce, making it only a matter of time before I was officially served, a significant turning point. I arranged a meeting with a divorce attorney who specializes in father custody cases. I was determined to keep the kids and was willing to do almost anything to achieve that, even though my research suggested I was at a disadvantage. While staring at the ceiling of my hotel room, I decided to go through Jackie's romance novels. 3 of Lacroix's books had been signed by Pierre, including one on the night of my birthday dinner. I was investigating where Lacroix signed books to determine Jackie's travel locations. Was this an affair or just a strange infatuation? I truly appreciate the video feature on smartphones. The process server provided a 1-minute video capturing the moment Jackie was served. The divorce documents were handed to her at her workplace, right in front of her co-workers. Saying she lost her composure doesn't fully capture her reaction. Her ranting and raving eventually caught her manager's attention, who then sent her home. Once I emerged, I received Jackie's divorce papers. Let the games commence. The initial stages were expected, with both parties aiming high while also making difficult demands. My friend was able to secure every other weekend with the kids. It was clear that Jackie was already influencing their thoughts negatively. How is it that a loving couple, if that's what we were, can fall apart so easily? About 2 months later, the divorce was paused after Jackie was arrested for assault. She apparently caused a major disturbance at a book signing event. I was in the gallery when her case was brought before a jury. The prosecutor was ruthless. He presented selected email exchanges one by one, reading each aloud. Jackie's expressions of distress grew louder with each email. From male. My sweet gray-eyed butterfly. Please don't be mad at your friend, but I can no longer contain myself. She found your email address from my fan letter sign-up sheet. May I call you Jackie? I truly enjoyed our time together that Sunday night. Please use this email address, which I set up just for you. My press secretary handles the fan letter emails. Love, Pierre. Pierre, as I mentioned that night, what we did was a huge mistake. One that I should have never made. I need to forget it ever happened. Jackie. I whispered bit AH loud enough to get elbowed by my father, even though it was his idea. From male. Jackie, how can you forget that night? I know you felt it too. We are meant to be together. But if you were only using me, then I understand. The look in your eyes that night told me otherwise. Love, Pierre. Pierre, I was not using you. Yes, I did feel something, and I still do. It's just that it has created a serious rift in my marriage. What we did was wrong. Yours, Jackie. Each email thread drew more snickers from the gallery. The prosecutor introduced another piece of evidence. From a letter, dated 5 days later. My dear friend, if our connection is considered wrong, then I never want to feel otherwise. I feel excitement, thinking about how well we understand each other. Please be mine alone. Sincerely, Pierre. Pierre, maybe I'll come to another event. Maybe, but I'm not making any promises, though the idea is appealing. Your friend. Jackie turned bright red as laughter filled the room. From another letter. I never intended to interfere in your personal life, but sometimes connections form unexpectedly. How are things going at home, my dear? My husband recently took our kids on a vacation to Orlando, then left me alone with them for 2 more weeks. I was considering a temporary separation just to get his attention, but now I believe I should move forward with it. And, get this. Before I could act, he filed for separation and is seeking custody. That's unexpected. Hopefully everything turns out in your favor. My lawyer is concerned. Riley has kept records of my reduced involvement with the kids over the past year. It's just frustrating. I have a very demanding career. and he works from home. If he wins custody, your time with the kids could be limited. Think about your next steps carefully. The sooner things are sorted, the sooner you can move forward. I'll think about it, sincerely. There was a murmur in the courtroom, with many expressing their opinions on Jackie's situation. After a few sharp taps of his gavel, the judge restored order. After several additional email exchanges were read aloud, they reached the one that escalated the situation. From an email, "Jackie, great news. I'll be hosting a book signing in Elliott, about 80 miles from you. My latest book centers around our story. I'll set aside a special copy for you, right beside me. Please let me know if you can come. I hope that not only will you attend, but perhaps stay longer. Best wishes, Pierre." My dearest Pierre, yes, absolutely. My divorce is in progress. We are now living separately, and I'm beginning to allow him more time with the children. You and our future will be my main priority. Yours always, Jackie. This triggered a range of reactions from Jackie and the onlookers. Many in the room knew what had occurred at the book signing. Once order was restored, the attorney said, "Your Honor, I would like to present the police report regarding Mrs. Jackie Parsons. At around 4:15 p.m., Mrs. Parsons moved to the front of the line. Mr. Stanley Crude, who was mistaken for Mr. Lacroix, stepped back as she attempted to hug him. When Mrs. Parsons did not accept his refusal, her behavior became confrontational. Security intervened to escort her from the premises. She was heard shouting about her connection with Pierre and plans for their future. At that point, Mrs. Crude stepped forward, identifying herself and telling her to stay away from her husband. Mrs. Parsons then broke free from security and engaged in an altercation with both Mr. and Mrs. Crude, leading to her arrest. One final note, Your Honor. It was discovered that the email account had been created using Mrs. Parsons's home Wi-Fi. The prosecution requests that Mr. Stanley Crude be brought to the witness stand. Following the initial procedures, the prosecutor asks, "Do you utilize the email address plcroix@elliott.com? No, sir, I have never heard of it. Were you present at the book signing event in Elliott? Yes, sir. I was scheduled to portray Pierre. So, by portraying Pierre, you mean you were acting as if you were Pierre Lacroix? Exactly. There is no actual Pierre Lacroix. 4 of us alternate taking on the role of Pierre because managing the book signing schedule alone is too demanding for one person. If Pierre doesn't exist, who is responsible for writing the books? Various temporary workers handle the writing, mostly college students looking to earn some money. They are compensated per chapter. Have you ever met Jackie Parsons? No, not until she assaulted me. Were you the Pierre at the University Park book signing? No, that was likely Jack Quigley. No further questions, Your Honor. The sound of Jackie crying could be heard throughout the courtroom. From that point, the case against Jackie Parsons moved forward rapidly. She was convicted and, during sentencing, was mandated to complete 200 hours of community service and serve 2 years on probation. For Jackie, the most challenging aspect was the impact it had on her custody struggle. She claimed that I was the one who sent those emails. Without any evidence, this accusation made Jackie appear unstable and delusional, and the divorce court sided with that view. As a result, Jackie now has scheduled visitations twice a month on weekends and alternating holidays. She is responsible for paying child support. It seems that her spirit has been broken. Being the compassionate person I am, every time a new Pierre Lacroix romance novel is released, I arrange for someone to sign it with, "To my gray-eyed butterfly, love Pierre," and send it to Jackie at her workplace. That woman really does have a foul mouth.